Head towards the second session of day two. And today, amongst us, we have Dr. Shiv Shankar, who will be delivering a talk on agriculture practices and SDGs. We are pleased to introduce Dr. Shiv Shankar K, an experienced academic professional currently serving as an associate professor at Vishvesvaraya Technological University, VTU, Belgavi, where he has been contributing to the field of education for over a decade. Dr. Shiv Shankar has served as professor and director at Institute of Excellence in Management Science with years of leadership experience in shaping management education. With a strong background in business administration and management, Dr. Shiv Shankar has a deep commitment to both teaching and research. His extensive academic experience includes mentoring students, leading various initiatives, and developing innovative approaches to management education. Dr. Shiv Shankar's experience and passion for academic excellence makes him a valuable resource for any academic forum. His leadership in the academic space, coupled with his dedication to nurturing the next generation of leaders, adds significant value to educational development. I once again formally welcome Dr. Shiv Shankar for this session. So, over to you, sir.
Okay. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Hope my voice is audible to everybody.
Yes, sir, you're audible and your presentation also is visible, sir. So, thank you.
Okay. Very good. Nice of you. Okay. Good evening to everybody. In fact, my previous presenter, my good friend and my brotherly colleague, I think has covered maximum thing, even of my aspects also, relating to some agricultural practices, where we can lead in a well manner to sustainable developmental goals. Today I will try to make you to understand very few aspects with one or two takeaways, remembering things for a long period, on which where you can make up your further research in and around about an agricultural related activities. Okay. As all you are aware, and which was well said by previous presenter, and even yesterday, even at inaugural session also, chief guest and chairman of KLS Society was mentioned all these aspects. Indian agriculture plays a very critical role in achieving sustainable developmental goals. As all we are aware, especially in Indian country, it's a more of an agrarian economy. It means that Indian economy is more dependent on an agricultural activities rather than the secondary and tertiary sectors. As all you are aware, as a major source of livelihood, still today, more than 50% of the population sustainable agriculture practices can help address the hunger, poverty, and environmental challenges. By integration of these SDGs with agriculture is an essential for long-term growth and an ecological balances. Before going to these agriculture practices towards to this SDG, which was rightly or aptly mentioned or given by an UN nations, I wanted to make you very clear. India is having a well advantage or with respect to easily we can achieve this SDG through our agriculture practices. Why? Because I came up with four competitive advantages as compared to any other countries or any other member countries of the UN nations. One is the robust demand, that is factors contributing to the sharp growth in demand for the processed foods, which all we are witnessing every day. Day by day, our processed foods demanding is increasing because of the increasing urbanization, and more to that, due to because of an increasing disposable income and changing the spending pattern, priorities, and emergence of nuclear families, and the growing need for a convenience foods in dual economy nuclear families. Already we have made a journey into a retail shopping nowadays. Why we are liking too much of a retail, organized retailing? Because it makes our shopping experience with more pleasurable, with more choice, with more convenient prices, or maybe at discounted prices. And nowadays, already we are hearing of the demand for an organic products in the Indian market is growing, and it is an anticipated rise to an extent of 25.25 compounded annual growth rate between 22 and 27. Especially after this COVID, every other people are already started of packing, and we are trying to have some corner of our food plate towards to this organic aspects. That's an organic food products. And a total of 521 lakh metric tons rice has been anticipated for procurement for the upcoming this one 23-24, and 496 lakhs metric tons produced during this previous that's in a Kharif monsoon season of 22 and 23. Apart from this robust demand for an from the Indian economy, even we have too much of an attractive opportunities also. It means that entry of foreign players has been key to a sustainable growth in some sectors such as dairy products, and the trends indicating a sharp increase in on-the-go eating, snacking in between the meals, because totally our lifestyle and food style has been switching to in a US based or maybe in a foreign based itself. And pre-cooked, ready-to-eat meals and increasing consumption of an organic foods. This has led to a host of new opportunities in the consumer food markets for both domestic and international companies to build a stake in this fast-growing processed food markets also. Apart from this, even almost all the state governments, even the local self-governments and union government, that is government of India, is also giving the maximum support in terms of a policy by that's an online competitive transparent bidding system, that's a single window system where which all you people are aware, ease of doing business has come across even to an agriculture business also, within a 1.74 crores farmers and 2.39 lakh traders put in place under this agriculture market. That's a national agriculture markets. There's an ENAM, that is an electronic national agriculture market scheme, and a new sub scheme of PM Matsya Sampada Yojana with a targeted investment of 6,000 crore to an extent of $729 million we launched for further enable activities for fishermen, fisher vendors, and MSC, and improving the value chain efficiencies and expanding the markets also. And even through several digital initiatives, such as a national e-governance plan in the agriculture, construction of a digital public infrastructure, digital registries, so on, the government has taken various steps to encourage access to an IT across the nations also. And at the last, as compared to any other member countries, among the 193 member countries of an WTO, India is having a more comparative advantages as compared to any other countries of the globe. That is, India has an access to several natural resources that provides a competitive advantages in the food processing sector due to its the diverse agroclimatic conditions. As previous speaker was mentioning, India was divided into 15 agroclimatical zones. Based upon the agroclimatical zones, the National Council of Agriculture Research, that is an ICR, and State Agricultural University are doing the research, and they are recommending the package of practices. Package of practices means it is a set of activities how the farmer need to go with respect to any maybe the food crops or vegetables or maybe field crops or even the commercial crops also. In India, agriculture is a primary source of a livelihood, that is more than 55% of the population. Before going to these agriculture practices, just for an information, I wanted to make you to understand what do you mean by this SDG, that is in Sustainable Development Goals, and who has articulated these SDGs and what are all those SDGs. Out of these SDGs, how many of them are related directly or indirectly, especially are in proximity towards to an agriculture itself. As all you are aware, these SDGs are in a global framework comprising 17 interlinked goals. These are all the 17 interlinked, which on either side of the slides you are seeing, to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. It is not future for a single country. Means by through this comprehensive, or we called it's an integrated, or maybe by integration of all these 17, they wanted to make for the tomorrow future in a well manner among all the 193 member countries of the globe, and which was mentioned and which was established by the United Nations General Assembly in the year of 2015. These goals aim address critical global challenges such as poverty, that was in a first SDG, inequality among the regions of the country or among the different continents of the globe, and critical global challenges such as the another one that's an important one is that's a climate change, environmental degradation, with a target by achievement of 2030. These are all the goals which were set by UN, wanted to achieve well before 2030. That's a 2030. These SDGs succeeded the Millennium Development Goals, which are active from 2000 to 2015. Unlike the MDG, that's a Millennium Development Goals, this SDG emphasizes universal applicability by addressing the challenges faced by both developed as well as in developing countries. And they form the part of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development adopted by all 193 UN member countries, UN member states or countries. The first one, that's in the first SDG, is no poverty. That's a zero poverty. Second one is zero hunger. It means that I will come back to with the detailed in the ensuing slides. The third SDG is good health and well-being by maintaining a good health among all the citizens of the globes. And the fourth SDG is an quality education, right from primary to a last level, that's in a finishing school also. The fifth SDG or goal is that's in gender equality to eradicate the inequality among the genderness. The sixth SDG is that's a clean water and sanitation. Seventh SDG is affordable and clean energy, that's a renewable energy. Eighth SDG is that's a decent work and an economic growth. It means that they wanted to boost up the economic growth among all the member countries, including irrespective of disparity between that's in a developed or developing countries. The ninth SDG is industry, innovation, and infrastructure. See, in this ninth, you will finding all the three aspects they wanted to take in hand in hand. The 10th one is that is a reduce the inequality in the development also. The 11th SDG is sustainable cities and the communities. The 12th is responsible consumption and the production. The 13th SDG is climate action by maintaining our climate in a well manner without polluting much itself. The 14th SDG, our goal is that is in life below water. They are not only concentrate on the life on the land, even the under the water also, including fisheries and everything. Okay. The 16th is that is in a place and justice among the strong institutions. The 17th, that's the last SDG, was partnership for the goals. Means in totality, they wanted take all 193 countries within together to achieve all these 17 goals in order to make the more sustainable or better of tomorrow for our next generations also. And out of these 17 SDGs, which was earmarked or which was articulated by an UN, out of these 17, these are all the four major SDG, which was directly relevant to an agriculture, irrespective of India or any other country. Especially today, I am going to be touch or I am going to be briefed out in what way the Indian agricultural practices can contribute to achieve the sustainability through these four particular SDGs. The first SDG is no poverty. It means that aims to reduce the poverty through increased agricultural productivity and the farmers' income, which is a very need of the hour of the today itself. And the second SDG is zero hunger. It means focus on improving the food security and the nutritional outcomes. This particular zero hunger is not having any focus or aim only to provide a food or a square meal for everybody. They wanted to provide a food within a more nutritious. Means at the end, means by the 2030, they don't want to see any malnutrited persons are suffering with any persons for any nutrition itself. And the third, that's a 13th SDG, is climate action, which is in a very important aspects. From last 2 days, we are witnessing because of the cyclone. Even in the winter season, we are finding an erratic or untimely rains also. It's all because of these climatic actions, which is emphasizes on climate resilient farming practices. As all you are aware, the agriculture is more of a monsoon oriented activities. Even though the India is going in a with more rapid manner with all the technological innovations, still we cannot able to convert even more than 50% of our agriculture lands to an irrigated area. Still 50%, more than 50% of our agriculture lands are still within rain-fed areas. So it's very difficult to find a single crop in the rain-fed areas, especially with this kind of climatic erratic itself. And this 15th SDG is life on the land, that promotes sustainable land use and biodiversity conservation. Okay, I'll tell you. See, probably this that's a 15th SDG. I am tell you by these two pictures. Soil health is first, then the human health. Whatever the diseases or whatever the things or malnutritions we are finding among the human health, it's all because of the soil health itself. Because we are depleted the soil health by our by our too much greediness. We need to maintain the soil health first. Then only if we have a good soil health, definitely we can able to produce or grow the good crop or a good products or a food that's a good food grains or vegetables or fruits. Then only we can able to maintain a food that's in a good among the good human health also. Otherwise, we are going to be fine. Antibiotic resistant microbes are that's a neurotoxicity, microbial toxicity. We are finding lacking in all these kind of in all these type of diseases are kind of this kind of things itself, like chronic diseases like heart or maybe kidney or liver, all these aspects. By the for this reason, I keeps on telling, before we focus, before we give more stress or importance to our personal health, we need to take care of our soil health. Because if if we die today, it's not going to be an impact much on this earth. But if we die, if we destroy the soil health, it will impact even our future generations also. That's why maintaining the soil health is utmost important of every citizen on this globe, not only of an Indian citizen, on every citizens of the globe. Then why? Because as all we are aware, we are living in a global village concept. Most of means whatever the products are going to be grow in some villages or in corner of the globe, it's going to be find a market in either side of the globe also. That for that reason, we need to maintain in a soil health among the means in all the corners of the globe. Then only we can able to supply or we can able to avail the products or avail the food grains or vegetables or any kind of products in a more healthy manner itself. In this, I am trying to say these are all the way the multidimensional framework how to understanding this SDG. The first one is that's the people. Ending the poverty and hunger in all the forms is a core principle, ensuring everyone has an access to food and resources. Probably I am this one. I think you people are seeing my slides with a too much populated slide also here. As we are witnessing, not only the India, even every other country's population is increasing in a multifold times every day. Somewhere we should think how best we can cut down the population also. Why? Because if we have this kind of an increasing or multiple fold times of a population, maybe in the coming days it's very difficult to grow the food also for all the people on the earth. Why? Because one sided we are witnessing population is increasing in a much multiple folder times, but another sided our resources, all the three P's, either it may be in a locations or maybe other resources, that's a land, labor, capital are depleting, or in a we are finding in a more scarcity manner. Until unless if we not focused by conserving whatever the other resources for our future or maybe for our future generation, it's very difficult. That's why we being a people, our duty is first to maintain the good health of a planet itself. It means protecting the planet through in a sustainable practices. Sustainable means we need to get food today as well as we try to maintain or we need to conserve the things even to get for tomorrow also. Practices is a crucial healthy environment and a sustainable future. And the third one is that's in a prosperity. No doubt, every other country, every other citizen, every other person, and every other second, everybody wants or everybody expects. I wanted to become a rich. I wanted to earn a good amount of the money. I wanted to earn a good villa or in a money or a land like this. But in this kind of an economical or commercial thinking, we are not supposed to forget to maintain the health of a planet also. That's an ensuring the economic, social, and technological progress benefits. Everyone is essential for an inclusive growth itself. And the fourth one is, which is very important, which we are finding a lacking in the present modern or lifestyle, that is that's in a cohesive or a partnership in our day-to-day activities. That is strengthening global solidarity for effective implementation is a key to tackling the complex challenges. As we all are aware, we need to think and we need to work in such a way or in a principle that work at working together. And we need to have in a policy like live and let live policy. Then only we can able to move for a longer journey or a far longer mile as compared to going within a single person or a single country itself. Here I am trying to give some snapshots with respect to an agricultural practices. That's the various methods and techniques employed in farming to cultivate crops, which you are aware, right from our civilization, right from our Harappa, Mohenjo-daro or Sindhus Valley civilization, crops are cultivating in their own way. But as the days are advancing, as the technologies are improving, we are using more and more technological based agricultural practices in growing or in rearing the crops or rearing the animals also. Okay, that is in cultivating the crops, rear the livestock, and manage the resources for sustainable food production. These practices encompass activities such as soil preparation, sowing, irrigation, fertilization, because everybody knows it. For every other crop, even for a short duration, for a leafy vegetable, just 20 days or 25 days, small leafy vegetables also, we need to apply some fertilizers or we need to spray some pesticides or fungicides. Without fertilizers or without PPC, that's a plant protection chemicals. I think we are reached a stage that without PPC, that's a plant protection chemicals, we cannot able to get any kind of fruits or any kind of food material today. To that stage already we have reached. And harvesting and crop rotation is most important. I'll come back to you that what do you mean by it exactly, and in what way probably this crop rotation will going to help us to find a sustainability for finding a sustainability in our agriculture by maintaining the better for tomorrow's itself. And modern agriculture practices focused on enhancing the productivity while ensuring the environmental conservations, aiming to meet the growing global demand for food and other agricultural products. I'm trying to give some statistics between the global as well as in India. If we looked out the percentage of an agriculture land among the global, only 37.4% of the global land area is available for an agricultural crops rearing, wherein in India, only 60.4%. Even though we Indians are claiming it is an agrarian economy, agriculture is backbone, but already you can see the statistics. Only 60.4% of India's land is available for agricultural activities. Rest 40%, nearly 39.6%, is already converted for non-agricultural purpose. Due to this rapid urbanization, due to the industrializations, already we are converted fruitful or fertile agriculture lands into a non-agriculture lands. But another side, population is increasing very rapidly. I think already from last 1.5 or 2 years, we are enjoying a position of world's highest populated country, even by overtaking the population of China also. And usage of an agriculture land among the in the global level, arable land is 10.7%, permanent pasture for grazing of cows or maybe any livestock, it is 26.6%, and permanent crops is 0.1%. Wherein in India, the things are at a moderate level. And contribution by an agricultural at a global level is hardly 4%, in India is hardly 18%. Even though the 60% land is available for agriculture, but contribution is hardly 18%. Rest odd, that is an 72%. The GDP is we are getting for Indian economy through a secondary, that is an industries, and tertiary sector, that's in a service oriented companies. Water usage, 70% of the global fresh waters withdrawals for irrigation. India heavy relies on the monsoon for irrigation. As you all are aware, if we get heavy rains, we are losing our crops. Even if we get less rains, we are losing the crops also. Okay, livelihood dependency, 2.5 billion people dependent on the agriculture. In India is to an extent of 58%. Food demand, food production needs to be increased by 70%. You just think of how we need to get this figure. 70% need to be increased by 2030. It means already we are closing the 2024. It means another 26 years are in front of us to increase or to make our technologies to increase our present food grain production to increase by more by 70% across the globes. And another sided, which is a very important thing for our Indian farmers, that is somehow we need to make or we need to think, or by using our technologies or any other aspects, we need to think how best we can doubling the farmers in other Indian farmers. Otherwise, Even the 58% will also come down and they will shift to an urban areas for non-agriculture purpose. You will going to be find the shifting, or maybe they will going to shift to a non-agricultural activity if if the farmer's income is not increased, or it may be in a doubles also. Okay, here I am trying to give that is an interaction, that's an intersection of an agriculture and an SDG. How an agricultural activities can help any countries, are including especially the India, to work towards to an attainment of goals of an SDG itself. One is food security, that's an ensuring access to a safe, nutritious, and sufficient food for all. The second one is poverty reduction, creating opportunities for rural communities and improving the livelihoods. And environmental sustainability, that is protecting natural resources, mitigating the climate change, because climate change is, it's not going to be in any person and 100%. Only thing, whatever the risk we are going to get by this climate change, only thing we need to have a mitigating risk capacities, that's a finding a solution to get in a lesser problems by this, that's some climate change problems, and preserving biodiversity. Means by having the above three, that is in food security, poverty reduction, environment sustainability, we need to go within a prosperous way, that is an economic growth also. It means promoting sustainable agriculture practices that enhance the productivity and the market access also. By this all the way we can go by, that's in sustainable agricultural practices and the SDGs. One is zero hunger, that is in sustainable agriculture is crucial for ensuring food security and ending hunger. It helps in increasing productivity, reduce food waste, which is very important, because I'll come back to that, especially what including the field crops, fruits, vegetables, and leafy vegetables, and in average nearly 46 to 47% is going under the loss, especially at the time of a post-harvest loss. After the harvesting, the fruit, especially the fruits and vegetables, are incurring a loss as an post-harvest losses also, and even improve the nutrition, because as we all are aware, most of the foodstuffs are not having the nutritions what we are gaining in the earlier days, because of all these kind of an GM, or that's some genetically modified crops and all those things. Clean water and sanitation, that sustainable practices helps conserve water resources, reduce pollution, which is again need of the hour, and improve the water quality, and contributing to the clean water for all. And the climate action, that is an SDG 13, that's an a sustainable agriculture plays a vital role in mitigating the climate change by reducing the greenhouse gases, that is in a CO2, as under the enhancing carbon sequestration also. Otherwise the future is going to be in a very problematic for everybody on the, that's in every life on this earth also. And life on the land, sustainable practices promote biodiversity conservations, protect ecosystems, and ensure the sustainable use of the land resources also. Before this one, probably more than my explanation, even I try to make you to understand or what exactly I wanted to convey by through these pictures also. Okay, the sustainable agriculture refers to farming methods that meet current food needs without compromising the ability of the future generation to meet their own needs also, by having the different crops on the single patch of the land. It means by, if we have this kind of a multiple cropping system, you can, it will helps protecting the biodiversity, and it will helps to enhance the soil fertility and minimizing the environmental impact also. By this way, these are all the needs of a sustainable agriculture practices. The first and foremost is improve the environmental health. As you all are aware, and we are keeps on hearing, especially in this winter, that's in starting of the winter season, it's very difficult even to respirate, even in our that's some capital, that's an NCR, that's national capital region, that's in New Delhi of an India, because of too much of carbon dioxide, either which was emitting by vehicles, as well as other agricultural wrong practices by burning of agricultural waste and all those things. The environment was too much that's polluted, especially in the Delhi and surrounding areas. Probably in tomorrow, if the same thing continues, the things will going to be spread even to in south, India, in every other corners of the country as well as globe also. So we need to think of to improve the environmental health itself. The second one is that's a minimization of site environmental impacts. Third one is that's a reduce the environmental risks. The fourth aspect is optimize the resource use and the conservation. That is, which I said, live and let live policy. It means that we also need to live today, and we need to let the people to live tomorrow also for our future generations. And high production benefits and low cost productions, which is a need of the hour, where exactly we need to think on an economical basis. Economics matlab by using the scarce resources in a more effective, efficient manner, by having by minimizing the risk and maximizing the profits. By using all these things, we need to improve our food production. Why? Because as I mentioned, our taste, preferences, lifestyle, and eating habits are changing every day. The Western culture is already incorporated more than 50% in our Indian diet system. There's some fast food systems. So whatever the way means, whenever the food systems has changed, in order to cope up or in order to mitigate that, we need to improve the food productions also. These are all the principles of a sustainable agriculture. One is conservation of an agriculture, that's minimizing soil disturbances. Extent possible, we need to go for natural farming or zero tillage or organic farming without disturbing soil moisture or without disturbing the soil health itself. That's maintaining the permanent soil cover and diversifying crop rotation, which was well mentioning by our previous speaker, Dr. Ramappa, by using the latest technologies like mulching. Mulching matlab it is just covering the soil surfaces by some polythene sheets or some other agricultural waste materials like strays or grass or anything. Means by which if we cover the soil, it will help you to maintain the soil moisture, as well as it will helps you to overcome these kind of the problems of weeds and other unwanted plants also. Okay. The next one is that's an integrated pest management, using a combination of an biological, cultural, and chemical methods to control the pest sustainability. Extent possible, we need to go for this IFS and IPS. IFS means integrated farming system. IPS means IPM means integrated pest management, and organic farming. That is avoiding the synthetic pesticides. Synthetic means very carcinogenic pesticides, which is very harmful for a human body as well as for animals also. Okay, synthetic pesticides and fertilizers, promoting soil health and supporting biodiversity also, and agroecology, that's maintaining an agricultural environment with a more well manner. That's an applying the ecological principles to agriculture practices, promoting biodiversity and enhancing the ecosystem services also. Here, these are all some important or by agricultural practices where we can easily we can lead towards to attainment of an SDG. That's in a 4 SDGs. That's in a SDG 1, 3, 15, and 17 through an agroforestry. Agroforestry means agriculture with forestry plants. It means short duration crops as well as long duration or perennial crops. That is going to be called as an agroforestry. Agriculture plus forestry at a time in the same piece of the land, which will help the farmers to get a revenue at a different intervals, as well as which will helps to maintain soil moisture. Even it will helps to avoid a soil, it will helps you to retain the soil health also. The second one is crop rotation. It means that go for changing the crop one after the other crop. Don't go for a single crop system. Don't go for rice growing system. After rice, go for some other crops. It means that will helps you to maintain the ecological balance as well as that is in a soil conditions also. Cover the crops through mulching crops. The fourth one is organic farming, which all you are aware, without using or by minimizing using of inorganic chemicals, and recycle and compost the waste materials. Whatever the agriculture waste, including the post harvest that's in the law, the post harvest lost fruits, vegetables, or anything, we try to have that is recycle and composting the waste materials also. And IPM, that is an integrated pest management methods. Means, as we are aware, for example, if you take an example of a cabbage, to get a cabbage crop, as a farmer, they need to spray minimum 4 to 5 sprayings. That too, they are going to be used a very what we called as a deadly or kind of a carcinogenic chemicals to get in a single crop of a cabbage, which is in a tenure of a 90 to 105 days itself. That we are eating on every day as in a fast foods, either maybe gobi or something itself. Without single spraying, we cannot able to get some crops like especially the cabbages or some leafy vegetables, because we are finding more of a pest and diseases, either it may be sucking pest or kind of a bacteria, bacterials or wilt or viral diseases. To overcome all these kind of pests and diseases, obviously we need to go for an integrated pest management by minimal usage of inorganic and organic products also, and urban culture. Why? Because already I mentioned most of our agricultural land are already converted into a non-agricultural purpose, either for housing, for industry, for roads, buildings, all those aspects. So apart from having an agriculture in the rural areas like in villages, somewhere we should think, and somewhere we need to start to have an urban agriculture, including our kitchen gardens, or maybe in a roof garden, or hanging gardens, or maybe in vertical gardens, kind of things also. Means we, being in a urbanites or being in a city living people, we also try to think to have that's an agricultural aspects even in urban areas, whatever the spaces are available in and around us also. By these are all the way that's an environmental impacts of a conventional farming. Here I try to give two pictures. That is in a right hand side of my slide. That's in a, for me you are finding that is an impact what we are facing now. Actually we need to have the left hand side aspects. One, first one is that's a water scarcity. That's an intensive irrigation depletes water resources, leading to water scarcity and the conflict. Already we are finding most of our agriculture lands are a barren, or you are going to be find these kind of dry lands, because our underground water are already depleted to a maximum level of a depth also. Okay, even in Malenadu region, or even in like Shumoga or somewhere, the people are already this one drilling the bore wells even to an extent of 700 feet or to an extent of 1,000 feet. Earlier, which we are hearing, the 1,000 feet bore wells are drilling in the part in Karnataka only in the Kolar region or somewhere, wherein nowadays the 1,000 feet drilling bore well is common even in the highest rainfall areas, even in the Malnad regions, or maybe in the Sayadri hill tracts also. Only the reason because we are not maintaining properly, or we are not giving focuses to maintain our our environmental aspects of. The second one is soil degradation. Over farming and overuse of the chemicals degrade soil health and reducing its productivity. Most of our agriculture lands are becoming infertile, either maybe use of a higher resource, higher water resources, or chemicals or anything. There is one survey which I am reading the report very recently, especially in paddy growing areas. As you all are aware, paddy means it's in rice. It is in a water intensive crop. Especially in India, the paddy is growing, that's a rice is growing within a submerged conditions. Means water is going to be logged in the water in the paddy field for more than half feet or 1 feet, or to some extent even 2 feet water will going to be stagnated for a longer period of time. If we stagnated the water in the same piece of land for more than 10 years, sorry, 10 months, that's one more than 80% of the crop, the you will going to be find a layer will going to be formed on the top of the soil, by which water is not going to be percolated into in a soil depth itself. And by that, the agriculture lands, that's especially the farm, that's in a paddy growing fields, the soils are getting converted into a saline water, salinity in the soil itself. And salinity means where you are finding the land will not going to be unusable for any of the crops. It means it needs to be live in a barren only. Okay. And biodiversity loss, that's a monocropping. It means single cropping and habitat destruction reduce biodiversity impacting ecosystem and food security. The fourth one is that's in a climate change. Agriculture contributes significantly to greenhouse gas emissions through in a deforestation and the methane release also. Somewhere being in a elite or educated people as like me and you people, somewhere we should think how best we can maintain our surroundings in a well manner without polluting or without diluting much of our surrounding environment itself. As which was well mentioned and adequately said by our previous presenter, that's a role of technology in sustainable agriculture, because already we reached a stage, or we reached a time without technology we cannot do anything, or we cannot find much happiness or a pleasure or anything itself. As like even in agriculture also, extent possible already the technology has been started using from long been years, from couple of years, from last 1 decade or 1.5 decade. The first one is maybe the drones, which you are aware, that's used for crop monitoring and pesticide spraying. Artificial intelligence, that's by having predictive analysis for better decision making, when we need to spray, how we need to spray, at what quantum of any chemicals I need to spray, when I need to be harvest, from which trees are ready to, that's fruits are ready to harvest, all those aspects by using this artificial, that's in AI. Agriculture is getting in a more better way. And IoT sensors, that's provide the real-time data on the soil and weather conditions. And even the blockchain, that's an enhance the transparency in supply chains also, because as you all are aware, agricultures are more of a seasonal in nature. The crops we are getting in a more of seasonal, but consumption is across the year or 365 days. For that reason, somewhere we need to go for a time utility, we need to go for this one period utility as well as possession utility also. For that we need to have a blockchain, that is in a supply chains also. If we have in a good supply chain, or maybe in end to end transparency, or this one, then only we can able to make reach the food products from one corner of the globe to the another corner of the globes also. For example, even in almost in every corner, or even on the every footpaths of the tier 2 or tier 3 cities, we are finding nowadays this one abroad, maybe other countries, fruits and vegetables also, maybe including the dragon fruits or apples or kiwi fruits. Even though the things are not growing in India or maybe in our state, but we are finding other countries like Malaysia or other countries, fruits are available nowadays even on our footpaths. It's all because of the blockchain technology, which will helps to have the things at in a very well manner itself. Once again, the drones and satellite data for efficient crop monitoring, IoT sensor provide the real-time data and soil moisture, blockchain technology for supply chain transparency and reducing the food waste. Development of the drought resistant and high yielding variety crop varieties, that is also more need of the hour, on which already our state agricultural university scientists are, because of their efforts, because of their innovations only, even though on one sided we are losing our land into a non-agriculture, but we are finding a surplus food products are available in our grocery stores or on our food carts, in street vendors also. For example, if you take for a from last 15 days, the onions are selling at a rate of 10 rupees per kg even Karnataka. Why? Because of the abundant or in a maximum, that is in a growth, or in a, that's in a productions was happened with respect to an onion also. Okay, these are all the sustainable technologies, for sustainable farming techniques and technologies. The first one is seed saving. It means we need to preserve, or we need to conserve local seed varieties and promoting the genetic diversity also, because all we are aware, our previous seeds are having a good resistance or a good yielding also. Somewhere by preserving the old, or maybe our indigenous or local variety seeds, we need to this one promoting to a genetic diversity and water conversion, that's in conservation, by using the efficient irrigation system and reducing the water waste, and renewable energy, that is extent possible, especially in agriculture, because it's an open field activities of an agriculture. We need to go for harnessing the solar, wind and other renewable energy resources for farm operations extent possible. Okay, and precision agriculture, by using the data and technology to optimize the resource use and improve the efficiency itself. These are all some examples. Precision agriculture in the US, as a single person, he can manage or he can monitoring good amount of a field by using the latest technologies also. And agroforestry in Brazil, this is the way in which I mentioned you, along with your field crops, you need to have the forestry species in your fields also. Okay, helping farmers restore the degraded land, improve the biodiversity and increase the food security. And community based farming in Africa, because as we are aware, the main evils of an Indian agriculture is that's a smaller land size, because of our fragmentation in our this one our family system, the land is also getting divisioning. It means smaller the land, it's very difficult to manage, and even the cost of production is also going to be on higher side. If we go in this form of a community based or a pooling system of a farming system, it will helps you to reduce the cost of the farming aspects also. Okay. And these are all other some other aspects where we can easily reach the sustainable developmental goals by using by the practices, agriculture practices. One is organic farming reduces the chemical dependence and enhance the soil health extent possible in all the crops, either it may be field crops, either it may be cash crops or commercial fruits and vegetables. We need to go for extent possible wherever it's possible, because I'm not saying 100% the organic farming is going to be in a solution for the present problems. Somewhere it is going to be in a substitute in a longer run, because still plenty of the research need to be takes place in an organic farming. Otherwise, if we start practicing today the organic farming, we cannot able to find a suffice the sufficient quantity of the food for the population, existing population. So we need to think of the feeding the present population, the quantity of the that's quantum of the population and quantity of the food grains we are going to grow also. That's agroforestry integrates tree planting with crops and livestock for that's an ecosystem benefits also. And crop diversification and intercropping to improve the resilience and an economic stability, because somewhere we should think and we need to make an efforts to at least retention of an existing farmers into a farming activity. Otherwise, by having this kind of an income stability, by finding the activities are avenues of an income stability for the existing farming community. Otherwise, easily they will think they will shift to a non-agricultural activity. At that moment, it's very difficult to get a hunger free or feed the population of a globe also. Precision technology, precision farming technologies optimize the resource use and boost the productivity also. As I mentioned, even the government of India, as well as all the state government and even local self government, right from, and even the plenty of NGOs, that's a non-governmental organizations, are also helping, or they are also handholding this agricultural community. How best we can make our sustainable that's a present commercial agriculture into a sustainable agriculture also. These are all the some government initiatives like PM Kisan scheme, direct income support to farmers. By this one, by supporting government is trying to make them self-sufficient, at least self-reliant in some manner, at least to in a smaller extent while purchasing the seeds or kind of things. And Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sanchay Yojana focus on water use efficiency. In this, I think probably long back our the present Prime Minister of India, this one Narendra Modi was well mentioned while launching this Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sanchay Yojana, that is one drop more crop. One drop more crop. It means that by using the lesser water, we try to grow the more crops itself. And third one is that's an ENAM, that's in a digital market for farmers where they can sell the products on digital platforms as like other industrial goods also. And other one is that's a national mission for sustainable agriculture, that's in promoting the climate resilient farming, and global initiatives also along with the individual countries government schemes, even at the global level by events, that's an UN Food and Agriculture Organization supporting the sustainable practices. And that's in a green, that's in EU's Green Deal, that's in a focus on reducing the emissions in the farming also. These are all some other schemes, that is Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana provides crop insurance to protect against the climate risk, and soil health card schemes promote the balanced fertilizers use for sustainable farming, and National Mission on Sustainable Agriculture, that's an NMSA, focus on climate resilient, and ENAM, that is in a marketplace. These are obviously, as we keeps on talking in front of the computer or in our class, it's not that easy, especially in the practical, in the field or in agriculture itself. Because as we all are aware, agriculture is purely gambling with a monsoon activity. Even though we are well prepared, but monsoon will make us to to think in a different way itself. Okay, these are all the some challenges of an agriculture practices in achieving the SDGs. Obviously, first one is that's a climate change and unpredictable weather patterns. It's very difficult. Rising temperatures, already we are witnessing. Erratic rainfall, extreme weather events, disrupt that's in crop cycles and reduce the yields also. The second challenges is that's in a resource depletion, overuse of the water, soil degradation, deforestation threaten the sustainability of the agriculture lands also. And the third challenge is loss of the biodiversity and that's an unsustainable farming practices like including monocropping and overuse of the chemicals leads to habitat destruction and the biodiversity loss also. And the fourth challenge is food security, which is very important. Without compromising or without thinking of an upside of a food security, we cannot able to bring in a sustainability in an agriculture. That's a food security and population growth. The challenge for feeding in a growing global population while ensuring the equitable access to a nutritious food remains unmet. And the next one is that's an economical inequalities. That's a smallholder farmers who from the backbone of an agriculture face limited access to a resource markets and technologies, as it was well mentioned by previous researcher, previous presenter, especially with respect to the technological aspect. Still, as an Indian economy, we need to think and we need to work and we need to more action oriented to improve our agricultural based actions, digital infrastructure activities and infrastructure gaps. That's inadequate storage, because as I mentioned, more of agriculture is in a seasonal based. During season we are going to find a glut in the market. During off season we are finding a scarcity for the products also. Whatever the products we are going to be produced or we are going to be get this one produced during the season, we need to store for other periods also. That's transportation, market access contribute to a high food wastage, and especially in the developing countries, especially like India itself. By these are all the way or a way forward, or these are all the paths in front of us to make scaling or to improve the sustainable agriculture. One is we need to invest more of an that's an invest in an innovations. It means promote research and development of a sustainable technological and practices. In fact, yesterday when I'm discussing with one of my good friend, he was especially with respect to this aspect, invest in innovations. It needs to be start right from our classrooms. Why? Because no doubt our people means our students, either it may be engineering students or management students, every day and around the clock, always they are thinking only on the HR, marketing and finance. Why can't we shift to an agriculture oriented research even from an MBA students or maybe from engineering graduates during their education? We need to make them to do their internship more in an agriculture related organizations. They need to understand and they need to come up with the live problems or live challenges to in a classroom. Then only we can able to discuss or we can make in a brainstorming on their problems, as like we can able to find any solutions through our research activities. And the second one is that's to support the farmers, provide farmers with access to training, because as I mentioned, the agriculture getting is more intensive field. When it means whatever the technologies are going to be get implemented or incorporated into an agricultural practices, we need to make an awareness among our to our farmers. Then only they can able to use the sophisticated or any kind of technologies in their day-to-day activities. And financial support to adapt the sustainable practices. The third one is promote the policy changes. Implement the policy that encourage sustainable agriculture and discourage environmentally harmful practices. Means somewhere to some extent, at least to little extent, we start promoting sustainable agriculture through policy, I'm telling, and we need to discourage environmental harmful practices. We need to stop ban some chemicals that's in a very endangered, that's in a endangered chemicals. The fourth one is that's in a raise in awareness. Educate the consumers about the benefits of a sustainable agriculture and encourage them to support the sustainable products also. Again, these are all additional challenges. Small holdings limit economies of the scale. We cannot able to think economics of scale in Indian farming as compared to other foreign countries agriculture, where they are doing it in a massive scale. They can do with more ease. Wherein in India, as I mentioned, that is in a division of labor and division of land holdings is very it's in a very bad for an Indian economy. It's very difficult to maintain our lands in a well manner because of the smaller size itself. And overuse of the chemicals inputs leading to soil and water degradation, vulnerability to the climate change with erratic rainfall and temperature patterns, and lack of access to any modern technologies and credit for small farmers also. Before going to this conclusion, I wanted to make you As all we are aware, uh, we are talking of more of an ABCD in an technological based with respect to itself. Okay, what can anybody tell? What do you mean by ABCD? I think in this slide, probably you can finding IFS, that's an integrated farming system, INM, that is an integrated nutrient management, IPM. One second, sorry. Yeah, that's an integrated pest management through ABCDEFG technologies. As you people are hearing ABCDEFGHI, matlab A means artificial intelligence, B means blockchain technology, C means cyber security, D means data analytics for a precision farming, E means that is an extended reality or through by using an electronic gadgets, or maybe an energy by using an renewable energy resources, that's a clean energy or green energy resources. F means that is in a full stack developers. G means that's in gamifications. H means that is in a HTML or human computer interactions. I means that is an IoT technologies. It means that if we use this all these ABCD, EFG, HI in an Indian agriculture, then only we can able to reach, or then only we can able to have this particular slogan comes to in a reality, that is in a per drop more crop. Why? Because otherwise it's very difficult or it's very challenging to get in a sustainability through an agricultural practices as in a food security for our Indian population to an extent of an 143 crore population itself. Means by stating all these things, let me conclude for today's aspects. Sorry. Agriculture is a cornerstone of achieving the sustainable development goals, as it directly addresses the key areas like poverty eradication, food security, and environmental sustainability. However, this particular agriculture sector faces numerous challenges, including climate change, resource depletion, biodiversity loss, and socio-economic disparities. To overcome these hurdles, sustainable agriculture practice must be prioritized, integrating advanced technologies, efficient resource management, and inclusive policies to benefit all the stakeholders, especially the smallholder farmers, which who are the majority among our farmers, and collaboration among the government, international organizations, and community is an essential to bridge the infrastructural gaps, empower the farmers, and promote the innovation by aligning agricultural practices with the SDGs, which was laid down by an UN. And we can enhance the food production, mitigate the climate risk, and drive the economic growth. And this collective efforts will pave the way for resilient agricultural sector by ensuring a balanced and sustainable future as envisioned in the 2030 agenda for a sustainable development. It means that we need to align Indian agriculture with an SDG is a vital for a sustainable future, for which collaborative efforts between government, industry, and farmers are necessary to overcome challenges. By integrating traditional practices with modern innovations, Indian agriculture can achieve sustainability while ensuring the food security as well as an economic growth. Now I think I reached in last aspects. If you have any queries, kindly pose your questions or any queries to me. If not now, if time not permits, even you can pose or you can ask your queries to my email ID also, by on which also I can provide an affordable solution to your problems or any kind of an queries. Over to organizers.
Yes, sir. So thank you so much for your very detailed session, and specifically the wonderful quotes that you just forward us through, like soil health first and then human health, one drop more crop, and many others. So it was a very insightful and very detailed session. So thank you so much for your uh, uh, insightful thoughts on the session, sir. I just request the participants, if any questions are there, you can just unmute yourself and you can ask the questions.
In chat box, I am seeing it. One of
Hello.
one of audience was mentioned. Sir, presentation is very informative, but it's
Yes,
too
sir.
fast to
It's
understand.
This is sorry, sir. This is
Exactly, I
me
do agree.
actually.
If we not
Can
fast, we are
you?
not able to cope up the competition.
Hello.
that's what they've just said. Like, I mean, you were a little bit fast in the presentation. That's it. But I think that can be.
No, no, no. Not only in the presentation, even in understanding, also we need to be fast because I strongly believe the days are the gone days with the proverb like survival of fittest. Then survival of strongest is also older now. For today's
Correct.
world, we need this one survival of a fastest.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
We need to be
Absolutely.
fast
So,
in understanding as well as in implementing.
So I think Mr. Sujoy Kundu would want to has some
yes,
question.
sir.
Please,
Yes, sir.
please.
Sir, Mr. Joy, I'm calling from, means I'm participating from that Odisha, Mayurbhanj. That is the place of Honorable President of India. And we are actually assistant professor and working in the Department of Social Work, Maharaja Sri Ramchandra Bhanjodi University.
Okay.
Sir, my question was that, sir, we are working in, because the place is famous for the Simlipal biodiversity forest. So we are of that forest area. So here it is very prone to have this fire, forest fire. So that is what there some problem is there. We have to evacuate them from one place to another place. So in that time, so many PVTGs are there. They are there in that area. So we are working on the livelihood, like you said, then agriculture. So that sometimes we are also working with the livelihood of that tribals. So we try to tell them that the rotation and that forest agriculture, like agroforestry and all. So in that time, sir, problem is there ki you said that one drop and one crop, like that slogan was there. So what type of agriculture can be grow in that area where it is difficult to do that agriculture, so it will grow and help their livelihood and also their productivity for their income generation activity.
Okay, sir. Let me answer for
And
this.
thank you
See,
for, sir, first of
in
all,
the
sir, I just
irrigation.
want to tell you, sir, thank you for your presentation. It was really very informative for me. It was really, I just concentrating all these things, but it was little fast to understand because we are from the social work department and we are working with that agriculture and all. It is the different arena field and all. So we need to understand because as SDG was there, so social work interdisciplinary subject with the agriculture and all. Thank you, sir.
Okay, not an issue. See, only by looking out of the time, I gone fast little bit because first presenter has took almost of 20 minutes of my time, and there is no other options for me to go fast. Otherwise, this one I will go slowly. See, with respect to your questions, in the states like Orissa, where the forest is more and tribals are more, in that area, instead of thinking of an agroforestry, within the sole forestry only, you can think on the NTFP, that's a non-timber forest produce. Non-timber forest produce where they can think of to go for an NTFP products within the forest area itself, like gums, because nowadays the tree gums are using in many of our in the sweet products also. That's an even to some extent of a smaller income generating activities also, where exactly our KV to some extent of our Kadi village industries are giving in a training how best they can make their livelihood in this kind of a forestry region, like the states like Orissa or any other like Assam, or where the forest regions are there. You can think of these NTFP products, non-timber forest products, non-timber, without depletion in the existing forest. How best we can improve their livelihoods by creating and generating activities, income generating activity. Think of this NTFP activities for their livelihoods. I hope I given some hints for you where you can work on this NTFP. non-timber forest products. Yeah, sir. Next questions, any?
Yes, sir, in the chat box, there is one question. It says, sir, could you please, Professor Amit Kulkarni says, sir, could you please comment on the concept of organic farming and non-organic farming? Because nowadays, organic farming is becoming too much expensive and quite tough to deal with.
As I mentioned, you know, for today, sole or 100% organic farming is not any solution, because if we go for a 100% organic this one farming, obviously the cost will going to be on higher side, and which is not going to be affordable to everybody. And another sided, if you go for 100% this an organic farming, you won't able to get any quantum, that's in a quantity as like in an inorganic, that is in a inorganic productions itself. One sided we need to think of to feed the whole world population, another side we need to maintain their health also. So at this moment, 100% I can with boldly, or this one, we need to go for blended organic plus inorganic wherever is possible, and whichever is for whichever crop is possible, and looking out of the time and the demand. That's the supply and the demand. We need to think, we need to go for pure organic or pure inorganic or blend of the both. To some extent, only for without commercial, for personal use, I can go for organic, which is not going to be in a commercial purpose.
Correct. So from business point of view, it's not feasible
It's
enough, but
not
yes,
feasible
for our
as
personal
of now.
health,
As I
we can
mentioned,
always,
still
yes,
plenty of the research work needs to be take up with respect to
absolutely.
organic. How best we can improve the yield in organic also,
Correct.
because
Absolutely.
compromising the yield is nothing doing in any other things.
True, true, in true sense, yes, definitely. So one last question in the chat box.
Hmm.
Professor Vinayak Kulkarni says, how can future urban planning contribute to achieving SDGs like clean energy, that is SDG 7, sustainable cities, that is SDG 11, and climate action, SDG 13?
Correct. See, with respect to this clean energy and climatic, as already you are aware, the central government of India has come up even for an urban areas also. That's a solar rooftop. By having the solar rooftop on our urban houses also, where we can reduce the dependence on that's on nuclear, this nuclear electricity or hydroelectricity also. Even the government of Karnataka and even the government of India, through horticulture department, they are giving these kind of hanging gardens schemes also for an urban houses also, where they can avail some subsidies, where they can avail some amount as a motivational amount by this horticulture department, by starting our own kitchen garden either on the roof, that's a terrace garden, or maybe in our yard gardens also, yards, in our within our compounds or within our area, from among the premises of our houses, even in the urban areas also. And nowadays we are finding, as earlier presenter was mentioned, even many of the people are already started off on a small scale by having this hydroponics also, without soil, by using only water they are growing some of their required vegetables. Especially in and around in Bangalore city, many of the people are already started, and they are finding in a success, and they are getting sufficient quantity for their, at least for their homes or for their community, gated community. They are doing this kind of an urban agriculture or a terrace garden agriculture, even in the apartments and especially in some villas concepts also. This is an just upcoming things are already getting up or gearing up, especially in the metro cities and in Bangalore cities also. It needs to be common, it needs to be in a common even in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities of all the cities of India, as well as in other countries also. Then only we can able to suffice the food productions.
Yes, sir. Definitely. I think hydroponics has been the buzzword in the agri domain these days, with making maximum out of it with least available resources. So thank you so much, sir. I think we are done with the questions at the chat box. I think you have addressed everything, sir. So thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thank
sir,
you so
and
much.
wholeheartedly thanks to the management of an KLS IMEA for giving
Yes.
an opportunity to share my thoughts within a learned fellows as an audience. I am overwhelmed
Yes.
today, and if anybody have any kind of any questions related to my topic or agribusiness related, surely if they mailed to my email ID, that's in the last slide, vtushiva@gmail. Surely I will try to give a rectification for their queries. Thanks a lot once again.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you
sir.
all. Yes,
Thank you,
sir.
sir. It's a
Sarvejana
privilege to.
Sukhino Bhavantu.
It was a privilege to have you, sir. And I think we'll meet you again later part in the week for one more
Surely,
insightful session.
surely. It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
Yes.
I will
Thank
come
you so
up
much.
with more technologies how best how can make our food production.
What better than this? Thank you so much.
Sure, surely.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you,
Namaste.
Shivashankar sir. Thank you.
Sir, thank you. Now, Lakshmi Narayan
Thank
Reddy.
you very
Thank you,
much.
sir. Hmm.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
With that, we just wrap up with day two of our 6 days online FDP session. We move ahead with an exciteful and more exciting sessions on day three. Day three is going to be a totally different session for all the participants with a lot of excitements. We have tomorrow session by Dr. Ravi Kumar Kulkarni, who would be talking on nanotechnology, a different concept, followed by one more wonderful session by Dr. Sandhya Anvekar on skill development programs to support the agri-tech in India. So with this, we wrap up with our day two session and head towards with more excitement and learning towards day three. Participants, please note, I have already shared the feedback form link in the chat box. Request you to kindly go through it, fill the feedback form, and then maybe we can just give it an end for today's day. Thank you so much and good night.
Thank you, Professor.